everyone, it's Tim, and as always, it's a pleasure for you to be here with me. Today we're going down to a different parking garage in Pittsburgh, and I'll try to find some power outlets there, plug in, and get some charging up in the car. Here we are at the Pittsburgh Zoo. I stopped in here to check and see if its one charging station was available, and it was. Although we do have low voltage here, and the amperage is not so great either. I just turned off the AC to get a more accurate reading, and it shows 20 miles per hour. With my AC on, I was getting 17. About a year ago, I came here the first time and I noticed the low voltage. I called the zoo's maintenance office and I said, hey, your charging system voltage is low. You might want to go out there and check it. They said, okay, thanks, we'll go look at it. And of course, they didn't, because it has not changed. Now this is not the best numbers here, and certainly is not the best miles per hour of charge rate, but it is free. As long as I'm willing to sit here and wait, I'm getting something for nothing. And if you know me, you know I'm all about getting something for nothing. And this came on again. It's going to cut me down to 22 amps now. This is a GE charging station. I'm using my J1772 adapter on it. Okay, here's the garage. A couple of years ago, I worked in that building right there, and I would park the car right there. But at the time, I had a regular gasoline car, so EV charging was a non-issue. So let's go on in here and see what we can see. Now it's the weekend, so the price for parking will be a lot less. And I actually looked up this garage online. This garage was built in 1978. And I notice a big difference when I'm driving through it. It's built very differently than that last garage we were in. This one has a steel frame with all the cement slabs laid in afterwards. And of course, at the time in 1978, there was no electric vehicle charging to speak of. Now I look, and I see on that steel post, power plugs. Power plugs. But I've looked around this garage before, and nowhere else are there power plugs. These outer walls don't have any. This entire garage, it's a lot smaller, and the side walls are open, so they don't need as much light in here as that other bigger garage needed. And again here, power on that post. Let's continue on up and see what else we can find. On this floor, on that post, there's power. What floor? We're on the 5th floor now. This garage is 7 floors tall. So for the purposes of our demonstration, I think this will be fine. We're up here. It's a Saturday afternoon. We've got the place to ourselves. And on every floor of this garage, The power plugs are in the same spot. I noticed the way this garage is built. There is one conduit going up to every floor to a pair of 520 outlets. And that same conduit goes all the way down. Now, I think the chances of there being separate wires in there are pretty darn slim. So it's probably one pair of wires carrying the entire load, and if an EV on every floor plugged in all at the same time, they would trip the breaker just like that. But since I'm the only one here doing this, we should be okay. Time to get the charging cord out. Now we are charging. I did have a problem. The cord on the charge adapter was not long enough to reach from the back of the car all the way up here to this outlet. So I had to use one of my extension cords. And the extension cord only has 515 outlets on it, not 520s. So that cuts me down to 12 amps instead of 16. But it'll do for demonstration purposes. So now if your local parking garage has a layout like this, and you're thinking about charging from it like this, here's what you can do. Number one, don't put your charge adapter right here on the plug, because it's too big, it has the lights on it, it'll be too obvious. Get a short extension cord that's the same color as everything around it. And don't run your cord over the top, run it underneath. Remember, subtlety. We don't want to call any attention to anything. Even if it's okay, still, why? You have a $300 charge adapter sitting right there, and you don't want anyone coming by and grabbing it or messing with it. And in the Tesla forums, I did have a few crybaby whiners all going all up in the air about, oh yeah, garage, you're not allowed to do that. Well, I'll tell you, in the case of this garage, I did call ahead of time. I did ask, do you have EV charging stations? If you have regular power plugs in a place, is it okay for EVs to charge there? And I did not get a clear yes or a clear no. The guy was like, well, I don't know, I guess it's alright. So okay, no problem. That's not a solid yes, but it's not a solid no. So we're in that gray area called the real world. It's called life. So as long as no other EVs try to plug in on this probably single 20 amp breaker, I'm good. And here's what we're getting for charge here. We're at 116 volts at 12 amps for 4 miles an hour. Not great, but if you're here for 8 to 9 hours a day, that's 32 to 36 miles of free charge. And free is free. So this has been a successful experiment. Look at your parking garage very carefully. Do some thinking and some figuring and make yourself the best situation possible. And I would say even talk to the owner of the parking garage explain to him what you want, that you're a regular customer, and what you would like to see happen. And they're businessmen. They may see it your way. They may say, hey, yeah, we can get an electrician in there, put some more outlets in, and designate an area for EV charging.